All right, so, and this is like early on in the story. This isn't even well into it. Early on in the story, she is out for dinner with a friend of the professor who she is doing her master's degree under, or her doctorate. I think it's her doctorate. Um, she says to him, "Oh, shut up! You sound like Erky McVarish. Every man, and Erky McVarish is the worst. Like of all of the professors, like there's like four or five. They run into him at various points, and he's just constantly making innuendo and like disturbing things and just trying to get a rise out of women. At one point, they're all at a dinner party, and he pulls out it's a penis bone. I can't remember what animal it was, but anyway, he's trying to shock the women at the party and that sort of thing. Anyway, she says every man who can spell out the words picks up a few nasty expressions from the English Rabelais and tries them on women and thinks he's a real devil. It gives me a royal pain in the arse, if you want a Rabelaisian opinion. By bounce, I mean men always want to disconcert women and put them at a disadvantage. Bouncing is genial, patronizing bullying, and I won't put up with it. So, I enjoy that about her. She's quite feisty, but also at various points um, she falls in love with one of the professors, and then another professor falls in love with her through a sort of um, midsummer night dream kind of accident, shall we say. And there's a lot to that. Like, there's lots of shout outs to classical literature throughout this. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a fun lark, I suppose. It is a bit disturbing because, like I say, it is like all through it. I was like, oh my goodness, this is such a like hashtag Me Too story. She's again, it does not pass the Bechdel test. She's the only female character in the book. And I shouldn't say she's the only one. There's also her mother. But the only thing that her and her mother talk about are men. And her mother trying to get her to like get a husband. So in that sense, it was equally annoying. He does a pretty good job of writing women. A lot of times, men, when they write women, it's horrible, and you're just like, wow. It's amazing to me that men think women are like that. Um, but he does a pretty good job of writing women. But again, I don't like. There is a lot of it that is really about her being in love or wanting to be in love or trying to get herself a husband and all of this kind of stuff. And I mean, she's trying to get her doctorate at a university. Like, that's really, I don't know. When I was in university, I was far too busy to be that obsessed with men. But, I mean, there were men, don't get me wrong. There were men around. Things happened with men. But, like, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to like remember enough details about it to write a novel about it. Like they just happened to be there as, you know, part of life, not the centerpiece for my life. And I hope the attitude has changed. I mean, even in the 80s I would have thought maybe the attitude had changed, but that does seem to be generally an attitude that, you know, women go to university to find men. And in the end, that's what this novel feels like. And there's it's a trilogy, which concerns me. Like, clearly I don't remember this trilogy at all. And there's a really lovely plot twist at the end. I don't want to like give it away. But even the plot twist just seems contrived in a way. Like, I don't know, like oh, it's the ending, so I need something interesting to happen, so I'm gonna throw this in there. Um, I mean, that said, it's a fun lark if you're of an academic or intellectual bent. There's just a lot of philosophizing that goes on, and some of it's quite hilarious. And yeah, so that does make it fun. But I don't know. I mean, there is stuff in here that is quite problematic, like in the sense of like, oh, that's really quaint, I guess. It just wouldn't. I don't know. It's a classic in a sense, but not really. I need to reread his Cunning Man because I feel like that was a genuine class. Like that was about a doctor, and I can't remember if it's one part of one of his trilogies or if it's one of his standalones. Anyway, so rereading this trilogy was on my goals for this year. I'll give the next one a go, I guess, and see. I'm not. I don't. I don't know. I'd give it. I enjoyed it, so I'll probably give it 3.5 stars. It was quite a quick read, and I did enjoy it, but yeah, some of it is just wow. It also made me really, really grateful, I should say, that we've come so far. So that's exciting. We're not we're not stuck in the 80s. So there's that to be grateful for, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think it was not as good as I remembered it. Like I remembered really loving Robertson Davies when I was younger. He is a Canadian literary icon, really. One of the founding literary fathers of CanLit. But yeah, I don't know. This maybe was not one of his classics. We'll see. I will give the next one in the trilogy a go and see if it starts coming back to me a little bit. It's interesting to me as I was reading. I was like, oh yeah, I vaguely kind of remember this, and then when it got to the ending, the plot twist, I'm like, oh, I remember that, and why didn't I remember that all along, like up until this point? So, wow. There we go. That's how memories work, I guess. Getting old is kind of nice that way because you get to, you're kind of like a little goldfish. You just get to relive things and not really remember them. Anyway, Robinson Davy, The Rebel Angels. I'd give it 3.5 stars.